And now on to the latest on the growing tensions between the United States and Iran. The U.S. military bolstered its presence across the Middle East. The U.S. and Iranian officials had been expected to meet Friday on restarting negotiations. Things got rocky over Iran's nuclear program. For more on this, Fox News' Rebecca Castor with the latest.
From an Iranian drone flying towards a U.S. warship to gunboats harassing a U.S.-flagged oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. Tensions are high ahead of diplomatic talks between the U.S. and Iran on Friday.
These are the types of provocative actions that Iran should avoid, especially as we try to negotiate a resolution to the situation.
Despite those incidents, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is in the region and prepared to meet. The Trump administration wants to shut down Iran's nuclear program, limit its ballistic missile development, stop its funding of regional terror groups, and end its deadly crackdown on anti-government protesters.
I'm not sure you can reach a deal with these guys, but we're going to try to find out.
Behind the scenes, the Iranians are making it difficult to even get to Friday's talks. They want to limit discussions to only its nuclear program, which Trump officials say is not going to work.
In order for talks to actually lead to something meaningful, they will have to include certain things.
And if talks go poorly, it could convince President Trump to take more military action.
They had a chance to do something a while ago and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again.
The U.S. has at least 9 warships, dozens of fighter jets, and between 30,000 to 40,000 troops in the region, leaving President Trump with a number of military options. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Rebecca, thanks for those updates. We want to continue on with the tensions with Iran. I want to bring in our next guest to help break it all down for us. This is Reuters Deputy Foreign Editor, Humerya Pamuk. Humerya, thanks so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox. And I mean, this was a meeting that it looked like earlier today probably wasn't going to happen, and then things shifted around.
Indeed, it was quite a bit of a roller coaster of a day. And since yesterday, first, as you know, the talks were supposed to happen in Turkey, and with the participation of regional countries such as Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, that was actually set for Friday. And then we got word that the Iranians actually did not want that venue, neither they wanted that scope. They wanted the talks just to focus on the nuclear file, which was actually something that Washington did not want before, because Israel wants, Turkey, others, regional countries want these other important topics to be addressed. You've actually said it, and Secretary Rubio said it today as well. What are those? Those are Iran's support for proxies, ballistic missile program, obviously the nuclear file, and the recent crackdown of authorities on protesters. So, but we have seen Iranian officials, even today, even after U.S. officials have told us that these talks are now going ahead on Friday in Oman, we've had from Iranian officials saying that they actually don't want, like, ballistic missile program is off the table. So after reporting on this roller coaster of a day, I'm actually a little bit confused about Friday, how this is going to go ahead. And frankly, 24 hours in Iran diplomacy is a very, very long time. So we can have a few cancellations tomorrow and then perhaps back on again until Friday. There's plenty of time.
You know, that's such a great point, because there is still a lot of time between now and Friday. And how does President Trump's comments play a role in this? We know that he could be quick to start something on Truth Social, if he does interviews as well. How have his comments really geared towards Friday?
Well, he had some comments for NBC this afternoon. And, you know, a couple of days ago, he also said that, like, you know, they want a deal. We're negotiating with them right now. If this goes well, that's great. If it's not, bad things will happen. We have seen this incredible military buildup in the Arabian Sea over the past couple of weeks. There's been thousands of U.S. troops, warships. So in a way, a lot of people say that if the president wants to make a move, if the president wants to carry out a strike, the military assets are now in place. The U.S. is ready to go. Now, for the regional countries, that is the big concern, actually. And we have seen a lot of Arab diplomats reach out to Washington today when they heard that the Friday talks were about to collapse, pleading with U.S. officials, pleading with the White House to actually go ahead with the talks, even though the scope is narrower than Washington wants. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that diplomacy. But during the course of my reporting, I obviously talked to a number of regional diplomats, and I have to say, while they're very worried, I hear them convey to their Iranian counterparts that President Trump is pretty serious in his threats. And they remind them what happened last June when US actually did carry out an attack, and that when he throws those kinds of threats, that there is a very good chance that he might actually follow through. So that's going to be that's going to be something that the Iranians will be thinking about when they go into these talks on Friday.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, weeks ago, the precursor was that President Trump wanted to stop the regime from killing protesters and said if that didn't happen, that a strike would happen. Now, what is the thinking of a precursor that would lead up to a strike?
That's a very good question. And frankly, the regional allies are asking about it, and that's one thing that they're really worried. I have heard from some diplomats some concerns and skepticism about the end game of the U.S. campaign, right? And a lot of people have made the comparison with Venezuela. They said Iran is very different from Venezuela. There is not a single person like Maduro where U.S. can just take out from the Iranian system. And then there also isn't like a counterpart, the similar Delcy Rodriguez, like we have in Venezuela, in the Iran system that U.S. can continue talking to. So it's a very different terrain. It's a very, very different system. And the end game here, if it's just to weaken the regime, take out IRGC commanders, perhaps carry out some attacks on like nuclear facilities, those are all on the table, basically.
We will wait and see what happens. I know, like you said, there's still a lot of time from now until Friday. Great reporting. Thank you so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.